how it operates, and you're operating your airline out of a very high altitude, like that of Ethiopia, for example, or many other countries, you know what it takes for you operationally to be able to wiggle through those challenges. The aircraft performance is not at optimum. In some cases, you're not able to carry the loads, which is passenger and luggage you wish to do, and then you don't travel as far as you want to. But God, in His mercy and blessings, has situated Nigeria almost at sea level, where we will take advantage of geography for maximum performance of aircraft. So we have the population, we have the geography, we have the economy, we have the people, we have the know-how, we have the markets. And in this partnership, you are connecting the biggest population of Africa, Nigeria, with the second biggest population of Africa, Ethiopia. Connecting these two markets, this is equal in number of people when you look at Nigeria as not only Nigeria, but as the West and Central Africa hub to which we are, to which we provide market for, is 600 million people, plus the Ethiopian population of 150 million people. That makes it twice the size of America in population, equal to continental Europe, and it's a huge market with huge potentials. So it's a very long process that we went through, but we're here. Today we're here. When we came in 2015, we knew exactly what to do, but we didn't arrogate the wisdom and the knowledge to ourselves in the ministry, and I'm very sure in the ministry and the agencies put together, you perhaps will have 1,000 years of experience of aviation. But yet, because it's a public sector, we took all the studies done before our coming. The IOS reports, Political reports, and all of those reports, studied them, charted the roadmap, and commissioned consultants to give us a brief and a feel of what the sector was doing at the time we came in 2015. With that report, we called for stakeholder conference in 2016 at Shehu Musa Yaradua Center, and we unveiled the roadmap. And we are all in agreement, and that is the best way to go. And the roadmap items are what the journalists have been reporting about. But the roadmap is such that it's intertwined with one another. We have the airline to serve the maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility, and vice versa. We have the airports to serve the airlines, and the airlines to serve the airports. So we decided to concession the airports, and so on and so forth on the legs of the roadmap. But because it's PPP, there's a public side to it, and because we wanted this to be very different, we said it's going to be private sector led and driven, with some tinge of skin of the government in the business. So we allocated about 5% of the business to government. So that made it a PPP. And this PPP today is being guided by an entity called Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. And they have their processes and the procedures. And we must remain guided by it because that is the law of the land. So it took us time, most of our first term, 2015, 2019, to develop the program and the project, to select a transaction advisor, and for him to go to market and to come back with an outline business case, which they did. But unfortunately, you also know that during that period, three things happened. The first that happened was that the country went directly into recession in 2016. With airline blocked funds of 480, Nigeria Airways 78 billion being owed, ex-workers of Nigeria Airways. And some people said we are not sensitive to that. We're going ahead to establish an airline when another government, which is not ours though, took out Nigeria Airways out of the scene, wound it up, and they didn't pay the entitlement of the workers. And that's some 78 billion Nigerian naira during the recession. So we thought, well, perhaps yes, but perhaps this is another opportunity to employ other Nigerians through this project. So it didn't deter us, it made us to continue. But however, we approached Mr. President, President Muhammadu Buhari, who gladly and graciously paid the 78 billion Nigerian naira that is owned by these Nigeria Airways workers. Even though Nigeria Air Limited as a company, limited liability company known to Nigerian laws, has no bearing whatsoever with Nigeria Airways. But we thought that perhaps we should be responsive and responsible as a government out of compassion to pay this money. And we did. And we did. And then also we thought also that even though we are in recession, we should cough out the $484 or $83 million block funds during recession. And we did. And then of course, during the time, Mr. President was challenged and he spent some 7 months visiting hospitals in the UK. Then we came back, and of course we went through a round of election. And we had to suspend the project till after elections of 2019. Because even that time, our partners may be in doubt as to what happens, who succeeds who, because they are investors, and of course they need certain assurances. So we went to election in 2019, and we came back. We came back victorious, glory be to God, and we assumed the mandate of the affairs of civil aviation again. And right after that, when we start to make move to conclude on the business case, get it approved, get it issued a certificate by ICRC, and proceed to the next stage, we entered into COVID. And another round of recession. So we went through COVID, but luckily we did extremely very well as a country. We developed early enough protocols, looked at the country, and as of the last count, we're still having under 5,000 people that died due to COVID, and less than 1 million infected by COVID. And you know, airports, being gateways, were the first place that people with the infection came through the country and spread it up. But we did our bit. So during COVID, we didn't fold our arms. We continued to ensure that this project did not stop. And eventually, we got the business case approved, and we went to procurement. So there are very many countries and very many airlines and very many businessmen and women and entrepreneurs around the world that showed interest in this airline. Because when we did the bidders conference, on record, there are over 100 entities, individuals, entrepreneurs, companies, airlines, businessmen, and so on, that showed interest. And all that we've been doing from day one, we all had a website where all the things that we're doing were dumped or were posted. It's the first time that any project would be so transparently done. As a matter of fact, Nigeria, I understand from ICRC, is the first country to host everything transparently on a dedicated site for public-private partnerships. And some of the bidders demanded for an extension. By the way, it was published in most Nigerian media houses, especially the print as well, including the Economist of London and other journals. And people responded, but they asked for extra time to be able to respond to the bid, which we granted. So since we granted publicly, so it means that there are no underdealing. I just received a note midway that we have weather coming in, and perhaps we'd like to inspect the aircraft. But let me see how I can wind up, because it's very important that there are certain questions that these people will ask, and sometimes they pick and choose what is news, what is not news. What is news to us may not be news to them, so I try to cover everything. But fast forward, we did open the bids eventually. Some people came late. It's not our concern. But we had Ethiopian Airlines who emerged, who bidded, and they scored in excess of 80%. And with hindsight, I'm grateful to God that the partner is the Ethiopian airline, not some of our wishes for some of us. And the reason is, one, they're an African airline, so we're keeping the wealth here. Two, they belong to an international global partnership that is very strong. Three, they know what they're doing. They posted over $1 billion profit in COVID. They've been doing this business for 75 years. They have a dedicated maintenance center, robust enough to do their own job and to do those of others. They have a training institution. They have everything that it takes to have an airline. So this partnership is strong and it's here to stay. The entrepreneurs, Nigerian entrepreneurs that trusted us and believe in us and joined the consortium of Ethiopian Airlines and won the bid, we say to them, congratulations, you are in the right spot, in the right direction, and your money will definitely multiply for your own general well-being. But perhaps I have to say that in trying to set up this airline, I want to make this very key point. This airline is like any other entity, any other business in the country. It's not different. It's not different at all. It's not different from any other entity. And there's no difference between this and any other airline. Because every airline, the Air Peace, the Max Air, the Ibom Air, the Valujet, and the rest of it, are free also to go and look for partnerships and come and establish a strong, vibrant airline to the size and capacity and economy of Nigeria. There's no law that says they cannot do that. And by the way, 50% of all airlines in Nigeria came into being under our administration. So you could see the aviation growth from what we have been doing, and the fairness in the Buhari administration, and justice and equity. Number of airlines in the country have doubled. Number of airplanes have doubled. Number of airports have doubled. Number of passengers have tripled. All of aviation businesses have been blossoming because we give equal opportunity for everybody to participate. Before we advertised and we invited every single airline and every single entrepreneur in Nigeria to join in the venture. You can keep your airline, you can keep your Max Air somewhere, or keep your Air Peace, or keep your Valujet and participate in this. We did conferences and seminars and working to them directly to invite them to come and participate. So this is a limited liability company known to Nigerian law in partnership with another company in another country. Simple. So we should expect tomorrow Valujet goes and get a partnership and come and establish. The only thing perhaps that is slightly different is that there is a scheme of government in the game to which once it is established, and it grew to where, or it grows to where we want it to go, then of course government will remove their hands. Murphy, is that correct? This is correct. They can only take us serious if they see that skin of government in the game. So we give them no stepping rights. Government does not have stepping right in this business, and they have only 5% of the company. And they have every reason, the partners, to doubt or not to believe entrepreneurship in Nigeria, because in a very short period, in less than half the years spent by Ethiopian Airlines, which means in 30 years, you and I are all here, we began to liberalize the sector and open up from Nigeria Ways. We had the Cabo, the Okada, the Harka, the Hako, the Alabarka, the whole trade, the Kwalkwal, the Chenchengis, and all of them. And not a single one of them is surviving the terrain today. And I think they should try to invest more, because now is the time we've established an aviation leasing company where they can access equipment and funds at a cheaper rates and perhaps in Naira, and where the country risk is no longer a factor. So we encourage other airlines to also find partnerships, to also take advantage of the government incentives that we've given, like the ALC, like the MRO, and the likes of them, that were done on purpose to grow this sector. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I know you will ask me some questions, and I will be very ready to answer the questions. But due to weather, perhaps, I'll cut the speech. We go and do the unveiling and the inspection, and then we'll come back and we'll continue, and then we'll do the answer and questions session. Thank you very much indeed for listening, and I hope that when you get out of here, you'll be more educated than you are before. Thank you very much indeed.